Alright, well, Christmas coming up, I figured today's tutorial would make something to do with the festive holidays coming up. So, you could do it like this, or you could do it without the Merry Christmas, it don't matter. This is for, we're going to be using 3D, so hopefully you have 3D. If you don't, um, you can still do it just without the 3D part. It won't have the brick with it, so close this out. Let's get started. Alright, I'll make a new document. It's going to be, width is 235, height is 483. Reason that is you want a perfect rectangle box. Our background layer that we're going to actually put everything on is actually going to be 1366 by 768. Everything is always the same, so hit OK. Come back to the rectangle, hit Control A, then copy it. Close it out, hit Control V, paste it, and get rid of your background. Now if you hold Control and you move it over, you want to give yourself enough room to actually have enough room to work. So push and hold Control, then V, then just move it over kind of equally. Oops. Like that. Hit Control V again. Keep holding Control so you can move where you want it. Let's do that 2 more times. Now, make a top layer on top of that. I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned cheater way. Make sure my foreground color is black. It's going to make me a line going across. And I'm just going to move them up to where they're at. And once you get that, you can delete that last layer. Zoom back out. Hit Control Shift E, merge them together. Now make a new layer, turn off your last layer, grab your brushes, make sure you get kind of a big brush. I'll use 178 softness all the way down. And what you're going to do is you're just going to come in and paint some colors. Then come up to filter, blur, down to your blur. Turn it up quite a lot. Hit OK. Then duplicate that by hitting Control J, hit Control I to invert, add a layer mask, gradient tool, make sure your gradient tool is set to that. Hit or shift, hold, and just drag your line up. That looks good. Now hit Control Shift E, merge those two together. Hit Control U, bring up your saturation. I bring it up so the color's pretty bright. Okay. Now once again, go back to filter, blur, got your blur again. This time bring it down to about 58, 60, somewhere in there. If you hit and hold your control, then tap, it automatically select that. But that's not where I want to have that. Turn the boxes on. Make sure your layer is selected. Bring the box about where you want the colors to be. That looks good to me. Now hit Control and hold, click, and see it selects those boxes. You can turn those off. Select your bottom layer where your colors are. Hit Control J. Now we're just going to delete that layer. And we're going to delete that layer. We want this here. Now you can pick any picture you want. I'm going to choose this Christmas photo. Scale it up. So we're about satisfied with it. Then I'm going to bring it down. This time, select colors, hit Control J again, get rid of that layer that's brought in. Now you have just that. Bring up your blending mode. Then you're going to bring it down to hues. See, that's what you're looking for right there. Probably even my colors. Alright. And then you're going to bring it down to color. Your blending mode is going to be color. Once you're satisfied with that, hit Control Shift E to merge them together. This time we're going to get our select tool, which is our rectangle. And now we're just going to separate our boxes. Hit and hold Shift Control, then hit J. If you look, it automatically just separates. You're going to do that all the way through. I'm going to do it real fast. Now let's make sure that they all are separated. Yep. Remember that trick, hold or control, click, it selects it, come up to 3D, which is A. Takes a while for it to load. Now you get all these choices here. We're going to pick this one here. I'm going to come over here. The number you're going to set them all to is 4.95. Then the bottom one is going to be 5. 5.95. Bring this down and select that. Hit OK. Let's see what it did. And you're going to do that with all of them. I'm just going to speed the video up. And when I get done, I'll be back. You're gonna come and you're gonna hit control and select each one. Come up to 3D, hit merge 3D layer. You can only do 2 layers at a time. Let me speed this up so I don't waste some video. And if you notice, they're all connected now. They all have that bevel, bold outlook. Back where it was. Alright, bring this down. Now all these layers, you're going to come in, you're going to select, double click, and it's going to bring up each one. Now what you're going to do for the very first one, you're going to duplicate that layer. Turn the bottom layer off, set fill to 0, double click the layer, come to stroke. Now you want to, you want stroke to be at 13 pixels, and you want it to be on the inside. Once you have that, hit OK. Now, make a new layer, empty layer, merge those two together by Shift Control E. This style right here that I made up, I'll show you how to make your own. Satin, we don't want purple. We want gray. Okay. Inner shadow. You want the distance to be 8, around 8 or 9. And the size to be around 16. Everything up here is normal. You're going to do 75, 9, 16, 9, or 8, don't matter. Bevel. You want to set your distance. Got this all rolled down. 35. Your size is going to be 24. 120. This one's going to be 35. Makes it a little darker on the inside. Your gradient. Now with this, I prefer a little bit of blue. And a butter yellow. Butter gray yellow. And hit OK. Now if you notice, it's got kind of a chrome look, but not really. Then everything is normal. Here it's 100% scale, everything. Satin, 19, distance 11, size 14. You want it to be set to screen 100. Hit OK. Now turn that on. Now if you come back, and before you close that out, come back over here. It takes time to load, but then it comes in right here. Okay, come back over here. Turn that off. Make a new layer, empty layer. Merge those two together. Now, just Control A for select all and copy. Turn it back on. Go back over here. Let change. Close that out. You're just going to do that with all. But this time, instead of going and have to redo everything, just hit Control V and move that sucker where it needs to be. Go back over here. Wait for it to load. Let's close that out. Now let's go ahead and do it all real fast. And see, this time, see, it actually looks like a true boulder should. It's all still connected. See how it's got that border look? Alright, now come back down to the bottom. Click the second one from the bottom. You notice it's empty. You push. Make sure you push D to set your color back, X. Set your foreground color to white. Hit Alt, backspace. Fill it in with white. Now, you can do this too if you want. This redwood texture, you can look up online, you can find it. That's how I found it. And then that layer that you turn white, this bottom color right here, I don't know, it's 8C6239. Hit Alt, backspace again. Then bring up your mode, set it to hue. Turns it into a nice brown. Merge those two layers together. Hit Control A for all. Copy it. Control D to deselect. Come back over. Give it time to load. Then what it does, it makes a nice wood box. Then let's go ahead and do that to all of them. Minimize. And now, you push this down and you hold it, come down to scale. I'm going to scale it down. Come over and hit the very top one, rotate object, move it back and down, just like that. Now duplicate this layer, Control J. Now come up to Edit, Free Transform. Now it's going to ask you, Do you want to make this into a smart object? Convert it into a smart object. Takes a minute to load. Now when you do, it's ready to be moved around. Hit your right button and come down to flip it vertically. Line it up to where the corners are, but rotate it. Till you all get it real perfect. Once you got it where you want it, hit the OK button. Let it layer to the bottom. And then add a layer mask. We gotta make a new layer. Hit Control, backspace. Make sure your back color is black. Select your layer again. Come over to Gradient. Make sure that you have a black to white. Sure it's set to that. Go to the bottom. Come up. Go to your brush. So your black is set to forward this time. You're just gonna come in. Raise it almost to the very end. Switch it to white. Set it down to about 20. Come in just slightly. Like that. Alright. Hard part is done. Now hit Control and hold it. Put these in a group by Control G. That way if you want to move them, we can. So now the fun part. I'm gonna make this into a second 2 videos because this takes quite a while, this next part. So I'm gonna stop this video now and then come back and make the second part. Hopefully you'll be back.